How's it going, everyone? This is the George here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine. After 6 years since the last Deadpool movie, after uncertainty due to Disney acquiring Fox, uh, what was going to happen with Ryan Reynolds' version of Deadpool? Was it still going to be rated R? What was going to happen? After quite a while, we finally got the third Deadpool movie, the first time that Deadpool and Wolverine are in an MCU movie, and the MCU's first rated R movie. That's quite the accomplishment. And in this movie, 6 years after the events of Deadpool 2, Wade Wilson has moved away from the mercenary life. He's selling used cars. And after a surprise birthday party thrown by the people that love him, he runs into the TVA and ends up going on this journey with another version of Wolverine. It's not the version of Wolverine that we've known from the previous X-Men movies, and it's addressed, the events of Logan are addressed heavily in this movie, but a version that has gone through a lot in his universe. And so these two have to reluctantly team up to not just escape the TVA, but get back to Wade Wilson's universe. So I've reviewed the Deadpool and Wolverine movies for the past month. I've also reviewed the first two X-Men movies. I plan on reviewing the other X-Men movies later on. But if you can tell, I'm a huge fan of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. He's just the perfect casting for this character. I also love Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. And even though we knew that Ryan Reynolds was going to return as Deadpool in the MCU, it was never an official guarantee. It was never an official guarantee that'd be an R-rated movie. And we also thought that Hugh Jackman was done with Wolverine after Logan was a proper fantastic send-off for his character. However, we are in the multiverse saga. There are variants, there are different versions that you can go with. And I also didn't know how Marvel would handle an R-rated movie because they're owned by Disney, and Marvel, some people think Marvel is sometimes not dark enough. Now, they have been dark enough, but dark enough to go R-rated? This movie definitely doesn't. In fact, without spoiling the opening credits, the opening scene sequence of the movie, the opening credits, really establishes what kind of movie we're going to get, establishes the tone very well. They do such a great job. The action is great. In fact, I think this is some of the best action we have seen in an MCU movie, not just post Endgame, just talking about in general. They did a fantastic job with the action sequences in this movie. The Deadpool and the Wolverine action, just fantastic work. And even some of the cameos in the movie, but I'm not going to get into those. Maybe I'll do a spoiler video or stream where I talk about that stuff. But the action overall is great, and they utilize that R rating well. There's a lot of F bombs in this movie as well, and it was fun to hear. And this is a fun, great, entertaining, emotional movie. This fits in with the other previous Deadpool and X-Men movies so well. You have the Deadpool humor that works well. You also have the serious Wolverine tone, and it's blended in very well in an MCU movie. And while this is a movie that takes place in the MCU, it feels more like a Deadpool, Wolverine, in fact, Fox Marvel movie overall than an MCU movie. There's like a couple of MCU appearances in this movie that I'll get into eventually, but this is a perfect love letter to fans of the X-Men movies, of any of the Fox Marvel movies that were made in the 2000s, even if they weren't so good. The Fox X-Men movies, not MCU movies of the 2010s, just a perfect love letter to those fans. And I must say, the cameos in this movie were handled way better than the cameos in The Flash and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I still like Multiverse of Madness. I still think it's a good movie, but I feel like where it slows down and actually gets hurt is when those cameos happen, because they felt like they were just thrown in there. While here, it feels like most, if not all, the cameos, whether they were big or small ones, were key to the movie and played a big role. One in particular, which was revealed in the last trailer, so this isn't spoiler, is Daphne Keane returning as Laura, and the impact that she has on the movie, even if it's not a huge one, just the impact that she has with this version of Wolverine's arc, because this isn't the same Wolverine that made the sacrifice for Laura in Logan. Just the impact that her character has is strong enough. Now, let me get to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. This was a perfect return for him after he had what we thought was a perfect conclusion. He's playing a different Wolverine than what we're accustomed to, and he does such a fantastic job. It's like he never really left the role, and he always finds a way to either top or try to top the next performance. I still think his performance as Wolverine Logan is his best, but this is up there with it. Just the character art that he goes through, um, what he's dealt with in his universe works so well, and he looks great in that costume. They did such a great job with that costume, and to me, this is by far my favorite comic book casting of all time, even more so than Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. And Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, he also hasn't lost a step. It's been 6 years since Deadpool 2, and he continues to deliver. And the character art that he goes through, and from the first movie to here, and seeing just how much he values the people that have been on him in this journey that's still there, just how much he values them. Just a heads up, most of the Deadpool cast that is in this movie from the previous movies, they're not really in there a whole lot. So don't be expecting a whole lot of Colossus, Naked Sonic, Teenage Warhead like the previous films did. I would say the two that do get a good amount of focus, Blind Al, still hilarious as always, and Peter, Rob Delaney's character, gets more screen time in this movie. He's basically Wade Wilson's new best friend in his current timeline, which thank goodness there's no TJ Miller Weasel character in this movie. Rob Delaney as Peter is more entertaining and more likable. I like how he was handled in this movie. But yeah, Ryan Reynolds still has costume works really well in this movie as well. And I've been talking about how key Logan is to this movie. Logan was not undone. Logan was not. Logan was not the best way. The best way to describe it is Logan was not ruined. It was not trampled. It's not dead. Logan is still a fantastic movie. The way they handled some of the things with Logan that some people might feel was disrespectful. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry, was actually done in both a respectful and also hilarious way. I mean, you gotta remember, this is Deadpool. Of course, like Deadpool will find ways to poke fun at stuff, but this movie also has an emotional crutch to it, and the things that both these characters are going through was handled really well. They did such a great job with that emotional crutch. And Dogpool, Hugh, and Esteen Sealer in this movie. Another performance from previous X-Men movies that's quite a shock is Aaron Stanford. Sorry if I mispronounced that name, as Pyro. As far as like the villains, minor villains that appear from previous X-Men movies, surprisingly, he was quite important to the movie, and I thought he did a pretty good job in his performance in this movie. Emma Corrin as Cassandra Nova. She's neither the best nor worst MCU villain nor X-Men, Wolverine, Deadpool villain. I mean, we understand what this character has gone through, why she is the way that she is, and they do a great job of showing that she's the anti-Charles Xavier. But I thought the performance was fine. Nothing really special with her character, though. But when you got Deadpool and Wolverine just overshadowing everything, it's bound to happen. But she's not the worst villain in neither franchises. Um, the runtime, I thought the runtime was handled well. This is around This is 2 hours and 7 minutes long. The beginning, I feel like, takes a while to get started after the opening credits. But at the same time, it kind of makes sense because you got to reestablish what Deadpool's been up to. But it felt like it took a while to get there. Once the TVA comes and Deadpool's on his quest, the movie picks up and goes at a great pace, in my opinion. It's still not a perfect movie. Story could have been handled better. It's not a bad story, but it can get a bit messy at times. This franchise, the Deadpool franchise, still doesn't really know how to handle the Vanessa character. Morena Baccarin's character. It just feels like after the first Deadpool movie, they just haven't really figured out what to do with her character. And I mean, the way she was handled was fine here, but just felt like she was underutilized again. After the first movie utilized her very well, it just felt like they never found a way to utilize her correctly again after that. The movie didn't address a couple of things that I was kind of wondering after Deadpool 2 in regards to characters. Like, okay, this might be a minor spoiler, but we know that Josh Brolin as Cable is not in this movie. But we know at the end of Deadpool 2, he stayed in the universe. So it was never really established what has happened to his character. Same thing with Domino. Like we know Zazie Beetz wasn't returning as Domino. This is stuff that we knew. So it's not like this is big spoilers or anything. But it's never really addressed as to what happened with those characters. I mean, we assume Cable went back to his timeline because uh, during the credits of Deadpool 2, he found a way to get the watch thing working again, which is why he was doing all that stuff. So I guess we assume he went back to his time after the watch got working. But yeah, just some stuff about certain characters that were in Deadpool 2 that are rarely or not mentioned in this previous movie. I just feel like there were just certain things that could have been addressed that just weren't. But despite that, it might sound like it nitpicks, but that was just stuff that I was just curious about that I think they could have maybe addressed. But besides that, Deadpool and Wolverine feels like a love letter to a certain era of comic book movies that has ended, and I love it. I love the R rating utilization. In regards to post Endgame MCU movies, Spider-Man No Way Home is probably still my favorite. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, close in second. Deadpool and Wolverine not too far behind. And then Shang-Chi. Like, to me, these are the four MCU movies I consider to be great movies. And I've been worried about the MCU for a while because it feels like, one day they'll have a great movie, one day they'll have an okay movie, and then they'll have a forgettable movie. One thing I will say while I'm thinking about that, about Cassandra Nova, her villain was still way better than the villain from the Marvels. I forgot all about that villain and what that villain's name was. But yeah, Cassandra Nova at least stood out compared to that villain. But yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine, very entertaining. Great movie, in my opinion. Some things could have been tweaked, but the action was great. The performances from Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds were great. The cameos were handled very well. To me, I think for any, not just Marvel, but also if James Gunn's DC universe ever visits the multiverse, this and No Way Home should be the models of how to handle the multiverse and multiverse characters appealing. That's just my opinion. The action was great. The musical moments where like they're playing music while action's happening was handled well. The TVA stuff. Now, before I conclude this review, should you see Loki season 1 and 2 before watching this? Because I know some people don't watch the Disney Plus shows. I would recommend it. I don't think it's as important to watch before this movie as the previous Deadpool movies or some of the X-Men Wolverine movies, mainly Logan. But I think it's important to, I guess, understand the TVA better. But yeah, overall, with Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm going to give this movie an A minus. This is a great movie. Not as good as the first Deadpool. Better than Deadpool 2. I know I gave both movies a grade. Maybe upon rewatch, I could boost it up to an A because it's almost at an A. I just think the plot could have used a bit more tweaking in certain areas. But besides that, I will say, as far as ranking actually, no, I'll do a combined ranking of Wolverine solo movies and Deadpool solo movies. So, Logan, number 1. Deadpool 2016, number 2. This will probably be number 3. Deadpool and Wolverine will be number 3. Deadpool 2, number 4. The Wolverine, which I think is still an underrated movie, will be number 5. And then X-Men Origins Wolverine, where first time a version of Deadpool appeared in the first solo Wolverine movie. Really down below compared to those other ones. But yeah, that's my ranking as to Deadpool and Wolverine movies. And I'm not going to go through the full ranking of MCU movies, but as far as great MCU movies post Endgame, as I said, Spider-Man No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, then Deadpool and Wolverine, and then Shang-Chi. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine and what you think about it. Is it your favorite post Avengers Endgame MCU movie? Is it your favorite Deadpool movie? Is it your favorite movie with Wolverine in it? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already if you haven't. Please share us with someone that likes the Deadpool and Wolverine movies, likes MCU movies, that like X-Men, Fox, Marvel movies. And I hope to see you guys real soon. I probably will do a spoiler video or stream, haven't fully decided yet, discussing the cameos and certain things that happen and what this can mean for the MCU going forward. But yeah, until then, take care, everyone.